The sterile white glow of the medical chamber reflected off the polished metal walls, making the room feel colder than the void outside the Zenter Nebula colony. Dr. Vrockel, a member of the Schillerian Medical Council, studied the data streaming across the holographic panels with meticulous precision. They had encountered many cases in their centuries of practice, but none like this. A human boy, barely 12 Terran years old, whose physiology defied every known rule of biology. Vrockel's four-eyed gaze shifted to the frail figure lying on the biobed. His skin was pale, almost luminescent, and his breathing shallow. Sensors indicated severe organ trauma, yet the boy's life signs stubbornly lingered on the edge of death. All previous attempts to stabilize him had failed. Even the combined expertise of the Schillerian doctors, augmented by quantum healing nanites, had yielded nothing. "He's anomalous," muttered Dr. Kraltich, their colleague, in a tone that bordered on awe. "Every metric, every reading, contradicts the laws of our physiology. He shouldn't even exist." Vrockel clicked a clawed hand across the panel, bringing up a record of the boy's injuries. There were fractures in every limb, internal hemorrhaging, cellular decay beyond the point of repair. "I've recalculated the regenerative protocols 100 times. If this were any other species, he would have perished hours ago," Vrockel said. The words carried no judgment, only the cold observation of a clinician. The room fell silent, the only sound the rhythmic beep of the life monitor, stubbornly refusing to flatline. "Perhaps we should consider the end," Kraltich said hesitantly. In Schillerian terms, that was the equivalent of giving up. "No," Vrockel replied, a rare spark of determination in their eyes. "Not yet." Outside the medical chamber, the rest of the colony was in chaos. The transport pod that carried the boy, a human named Ethan, had been discovered after a catastrophic crash on an uninhabited moon. The humans had been declared extinct in this sector for decades, and yet here he was, alive, breathing, defying their understanding. Arrival of the human. Ethan's journey had been a nightmare from the start. His vessel had been attacked by an asteroid swarm, his systems failing one by one until the emergency pods activated automatically. Alone and scared, he drifted for days, surviving on emergency rations and sheer instinct. When the Schillerians found him, barely conscious, it was a miracle he had survived the vacuum of space long enough for rescue. Despite the doctor's doubts, Ethan's resilience was apparent. His eyes, an unusual shade of Terran blue, held a fire that no Schillerian could comprehend. Where their species valued logic above all else, Ethan seemed to possess an innate will. It was something alien, yet astonishing. Inside the chamber, the alien doctors ran simulations of potential treatments. They injected nanites designed to repair cellular damage, applied advanced cryogenic therapies, and exposed him to stimulative energy fields. Still, his body remained fragile. "His pain receptors are intact," Kraltich noted. "He feels every procedure as though it were unshielded exposure to plasma discharge." Vrockel watched, concerned, yet intrigued. "And yet he does not scream. He does not panic. He endures. This is remarkable." The Schillerians had never encountered a species capable of such endurance. Humans were primitive in anatomy, but extraordinary in spirit. The turning point. Hours turned into days. Ethan's condition fluctuated between critical and stable. His presence had begun to unsettle the medical team. Where Schillerians relied on precision, logic, and control, the human boy brought unpredictability. The biobed sensors would register fluctuations that defied every law of known biology, heart rate spiking and falling, energy levels rebounding without apparent reason. One night, Vrockel sat alone in the chamber, reviewing his vitals. The boy's breathing was shallow, almost imperceptible. Vrakel placed a clawed hand on Ethan's arm, feeling the faint warmth pulsing beneath his skin. "You have fought hard," Vrakel whispered, more to themselves than to the human. "But the body, it cannot endure any longer." Then, something extraordinary happened. Ethan's eyes fluttered open. They were clear, bright, and unbroken by fear or despair. "I'm here," he whispered, his voice small, yet filled with a gravity that made the room tremble. Vrakel froze. The phrase was so simple, yet it carried a power that no nanite, no stimulator, could emulate. It was will. It was choice. It was survival manifest in the purest form. The monitors flickered. Vital signs stabilized. Cellular decay halted. Even internal hemorrhaging slowed, as though the boy's sheer presence was rewriting the laws of biology around him. The doctors realize. Krulth rushed back into the chamber, eyes wide with disbelief.
He said something.
"And the readings, they're improving." Vrakel didn't respond at first. Their 4 eyes were fixed on the human, analyzing, recalculating, unable to fit this into any known framework. "Impossible," Vrakel murmured, yet undeniable. It was then that the Shilarians realized the truth. This species, humans, possessed something fundamentally different, a willpower that could override physical limitations. Where their nanites, stimulators, and cryogenic fields failed, Ethan's determination healed what science could not. "He is rewriting his own biology," Krulth said, through sheer intent. The boy blinked, struggling to lift a hand. Vrakel assisted, marveling at the strength that seemed to flow not from muscle, but from spirit. "You are extraordinary," Vrakel said softly. Ethan smiled faintly. "I have to be." Healing beyond science over the next several days, Ethan's recovery accelerated. The alien doctors, who had once doubted his survival, watched in awe as broken bones knit together, organs stabilized, and wounds closed with astonishing speed. Every treatment they administered seemed almost secondary, as if the human boy was carrying the power of regeneration within him. Vrakel kept detailed logs. "He demonstrates cellular regeneration at a rate 10-fold beyond our maximum theoretical capacity," they wrote. "His physiology is adaptive, responsive to will. This defies everything we know." The colony's council took notice. Meetings were held in emergency, debates raging over what this meant for the Shilarians, for the humans, and for the galaxy at large. Perhaps humans are meant for more than we believed," Krulth said cautiously. "Their bodies are fragile, yes, but their spirit, it is indomitable." Vrakel nodded. "We have witnessed an entirely new form of life force manipulation. Not through energy or technology, but through consciousness itself. This human is a revelation." Beyond recovery weeks passed, and Ethan grew stronger. He walked unaided, his laughter echoing through the sterile halls like a new melody. The Shilarians, once resigned to watch him die, now studied him with reverence. He spoke of Terran concepts, of courage, of hope, and of resilience. The Shilarians listened, fascinated. Their centuries-long understanding of life, death, and healing had been upended by a child who simply refused to give in. One evening, as the colony's twin suns set in the crimson sky, Ethan looked at the doctors who had saved and doubted him. "Thank you," he said softly, "but I didn't need saving. I just needed to say I was here." Vrakel's eyes, wide with understanding, reflected the dawning realization. This human did not merely survive. He transcended their science. And in that moment, a quiet revolution began. A new understanding in the following months, The Schilerian scientists integrated their observations into medical protocols, discovering ways to harness the human principle of will-based recovery. It changed their approach to every species in the galaxy. The boy, Ethan, had not only survived, he had altered the course of interstellar medicine. News of the humans' resilience spread to distant colonies. Humans, long thought fragile, became objects of fascination. Where alien races had once dominated through strength or intellect, now they observed a new measure of power, the indomitable spirit of the human. Ethan himself remained humble. He learned the Schilerian language, shared stories of Earth, and trained in survival and exploration, always carrying the quiet knowledge that his life had rewritten the rules. The ending years later, standing on the observation deck of the Zenter Nebula colony, Ethan watched the stars swirl in patterns only a human mind could appreciate. Beside him, Vrakel and Krulth spoke quietly, still struggling to reconcile science with what they had witnessed. "You've changed everything," Vrakel said. "Not just here, not just for us, but for the galaxy." Ethan smiled, gaze fixed on a distant, uncharted planet. "I'm just a boy," he said, "but I'm here, and that's enough." For the first time, the Schilerians understood. Life was more than biology, more than technology. It was will, spirit, and the courage to persist. And in that persistence, humans would never be underestimated again.